John Lusk here of Lusk Archery Adventures. Series testing, successful hunting. Today I'm going to be testing the Truglo Titanium X 4-blade mechanical. Thanks to a buddy of mine, Mark, who sent me a pack of these, I'm able to put them to the test. I've tested a few other models of the Truglo Titanium X, and they've done fairly well, but I've never tested this one. I mean, a 4-blade mechanical. There's all kinds of stuff going on here. So I'm going to zoom on in here and go through some of the design features and specifications, and then put it to the test using all the tests that I'm doing for 2022. And for a detailed description of those tests, you can check it out in the description box right below this video, and it'll also have the scores of how they had performed in each of those areas as well. So let's zoom on in here and check it out. Oh, and I'm using my Bowtech SR6 set at 72 pounds, 27-inch draw. I'm using Bishop FOC King arrows for most of the shots, but then for the really hard impact ones, I'm using the Bishop FAD eliminators. Let's zoom in and check out the mechanical 4-blade by Truglo and then see how it performs. Here's a good look at the 4-blade mechanical, as they call it. And I will note right off the bat that this is marketed as a crossbow broadhead. But of course you can use it out of a vertical bow as well, especially if you're generating enough momentum. Though I will note there's a bit of a gap right here at the base of the ferrule and the end of the arrow shaft. That's because the threaded portion of the ferrule, the stem, is pretty long. And maybe that's because it's designed that way for a crossbow. Maybe they have a longer threading to them. I'm not really sure. But either way, it's going to be fine shooting it through a vertical bow. I will note too that all of the heads had a bit of a wobble to them. This one had the least, and so I'm showing that the others had a bit more of a wobble. Now you also notice that in the closed position, there's a lot going on there. There's a lot of exposed surface area, kind of like a typical mechanical ×2, because that really is what it is. In the closed position, you got 5/8 of an inch of exposed blade here and here, and 7/8 of an inch in diameter exposed here and here, plus the length of each of them. So that's not going to be quite as forgiving in flight as some other mechanicals, more like a fixed blade in that regard. The materials, the ferrule is CNC machined out of grade 5 titanium, and that includes the tip, which is a really cool cut-on-contact / chisel tip, 4 edges to it and a really pointy tip. The blades are stainless steel and they're 0.032 inches thick. Now the way it works is like a typical gator head. As the head penetrates, this portion, this non-sharpened, blunted portion, is forced back, and that it causes these blades to expand out. And then that pressure forces these blades back, or these butts back, and then it causes this to expand. So in the open position, here's what it looks like. Pretty cool looking head. And when it is fully opened, this cutting diameter is 7/8 of an inch, and then this cutting diameter is 1 3/4 inches for a total cut of 2.62 inches. That's a lot of cut. So really eager to put this head to the test and see how this mechanical 4-blade performs. .250. It penetrated 6 1/4 inches. Now I know it doesn't look like that the way the measuring tape is lined up and the camera angle and so forth, but I measured it from a few different directions and it is 6 1/4 inches. And I want to note that both of the blades deployed upon impact, but then as it hit the gel, the rear blades, the main blades, shrunk back to their closed position, almost totally closed position, whereas the leading blades, the smaller blades, remained open the whole time. .275. It penetrated through 47 layers. But I want to note, like is typical with these gator style heads that don't lock, The main blades never reached more than 1¼ inches of cutting diameter, and then they just kind of shrunk. So they started smaller than that, and then they reached a peak of 1¼ inches, and then they kind of shrunk back to about an inch. The leading blade, the smaller blade, stayed at its full cut of just under an inch pretty much the whole way through. With the stretched hide here, the main blade opened to 1½ inches, and the smaller blade reached its full opening of 7/8 of an inch. And by the back of the box, they had both reached their full opening position. Here's the head after going through the MDF 3 times and then the steel plate 2 times. And as you can see, it held up pretty well, better than most mechanicals. The tip got a little bit blunted, and the blades got pretty nicked up there and bent just a little bit, but held together really relatively well. And then here you can see the holes that it made in the steel plate. Those are nice holes. Here's the head after impacting the concrete, and unfortunately it didn't do very well in the concrete. The ferrule gets pretty narrow at that one point in the middle, and that's right where it just snapped in half. Now, the tip did embed in the concrete, so that's good, but it lost the front 2 blades and then lost one of the back blades. So unfortunately, it didn't do that well, but it did hold up very well through the MDF and the steel plate also. So, overall, the zero penetration test is not super important, right? I mean, that's just like testing the outer limits of what a Broadhead can handle. The other tests of durability, especially the MDF, are much more important, and that's why they're scored so much more. The concrete only accounts for 3 points out of 100. So overall, the durability was fairly impressive with this head. So what did you think of this Broadhead? You know what? It did better than I thought it would. Okay, I say that a lot, but it's really true. I didn't think it was going to do nearly as well as it did. I was pretty impressed. So check out the score sheet in the description box and read about how it performed in each of the areas that matter to you the most, and see if this might be a fit for you. But if you're generating enough momentum to be able to drive this deep into an animal, then it's definitely worth a look. So stay tuned for the overall cumulative score as well as the corresponding lust grade.